In this video, we're going to look at testing the structure and the validation of the relational database for Phoenix Circus. We need to use suitable test data, that's normal, erroneous and extreme as appropriate. And it's worthwhile noting at this point, we're not testing the queries or the report, that is not required. So let's have a look at what we've got to test. A record will not save without the trainee's name being present. A record will not save if the trainee's first name is not in the correct format. So we've got first character is uppercase followed by a number of characters. A record will not save if the result is invalid. A record will not save if the level for a module is invalid. And a record will not save if a trainee number taking a module is invalid. So here we have the test log opened, and this will be supplied to you. Just a quick recap, the types of tests: N for normal, R for erroneous and X for extreme. Extreme is for when we're testing range testing outside the limits of the range. N normal data is the data that the computer will accept, and then anything else is classed as R. Now I tend to put these N, R, X's in when I've finished, so I'm going to go through and provide the test data, the expected results and the evidence with the screen prints. The final column in this test plan is only to be completed if your test results don't work as expected. So let's have a look at this first test. A record will not save without the trainee's last name being present. We need to provide data for all the fields in the record for the field that we are testing. In this case, we're going to say the last name is blank because we need to check for its presence. So we provided a trainee number, a first name, last name's blank, and we've got a date of birth. We write in the expected results column what's going to happen with that data. In this case, the record will not save, a last name must be present, and there'll be an error message displayed saying the last name must be present. So we go to Access now, and we'll key this data in that we've got in our test data and take a screen print and paste it into this final column here. And here we've got the evidence. You can see we've got the correct trainee number, the first name, we've left the surname blank, and we've keyed in the date of birth, and we're showing the error message that's been displayed. The next test, a record will not save if the trainee's name is not in the correct format. Now in this case we've used an input mask. Strictly speaking, the first character should be an uppercase. It's got to be a character followed by a number of characters. So what I'm going to say here is I'm going to try and enter a number, and that should not be accepted. So in the test data column, we write down, again for the whole record, the data that we're going to use. So in this case, the first name I'm going to try and put in 8, surname Pascal, we've got a date of birth, and it's the same trainee number. We write in the expected results column, a record will not save, a character must be entered. Difficult one to evidence this because there's no actual error message. As soon as you key in an 8, the computer won't let you go any further. So I'm just going to display the record with the first name blank. So we've gone off to Access, keyed in the data, and I'm just showing the evidence there in a screenshot. The next test, a record will not save if the result is invalid. Again, we need to provide all the test data that we're using in our record. So in this case, trainee number valid is 800150, a module number that's valid, completion date, and then in the result, we're going to key in near pass. Again, in the expected results column, we're going to write down exactly what we expect the computer to do with that. We're going to say the record will not save, near pass is not in the list, an error message will be displayed saying the text you have entered is not in the list. So we use that data in our database, and here's the image. We've got the trainee number, module number, the completion date. We've keyed in near pass and it's come up with the error message. Next test, a record will not save if the level for a module is invalid. So again, I've provided all the data that's going into this record, but module number 300, acrobatic balancing expert, level 4. And in the expected results column, we've written exactly what we expect the computer to do with that data. In this case, the record will not save, the level does not exist in the level table, and the error message will be displayed. The text you have entered is not an item on the list. We've used that data in our database, module 300, acrobatic balancing expert, level 4, and here we've got the error message displayed saying the text we've entered isn't an item on the list. And the final test, the record will not save if a trainee number taking a module is invalid. So here we've provided all the data. We've got a trainee number which doesn't exist in the trainee table, 800151. We've got a module number of 200 which is valid, completion date and a valid result. We state in the expected results column what we expect the computer to do with this data. The record will not save, trainee does not exist in the trainee table, and the error message will be displayed that the text you've entered is not an item in the list. So we've used that data in the database, and here's an image to evidence that. We've got trainee number 800151, and straight away it comes up with the error message, the text you've entered isn't an item on the list. The next thing to do is to number the tests. I usually leave this till the end. It's just a bit easier numbering them from 1 to whatever number test you've got, maybe 5, 6 or 7. It's a lot easier in case you're inserting any rows or anything in your test log. You don't have to renumber them if you're moving things around. So we'll just go through and number these from 1 to whatever number tests you've got. And then finally, we just need to put in the type of test. We've no range testing in this database. We've no normal data, so they're all going to be R for erroneous. So again, it's just a case of going through and putting R against each test in this case. That completes the testing for Phoenix Circus. The next video will look at the evaluation of the structure and the validation.